Why do I do this? Wonderhussy here at Burning Man again for the 12th time. That's right, I started coming here in 2009 and I went every single year until, well, they canceled it the last 2 years because of the pandemic. That's right, Burning Man is back and it's better than ever. There's more artwork on the playa this year than ever before, and people are going extra bonkers because they have 3 years worth of pent-up frustrations they want to party out. Okay, for those of you who don't know, Burning Man is a week-long festival held on a vast, desolate, dry lake bed about 2 hours north of Reno in the absolute middle of nowhere, Nevada. There's absolutely no services. It's just a flat, dry, dusty, desolate lake bed with no food, no water, no flush toilets, no cell signal, no nothing. Which means you basically have to pack and bring with you everything you need to survive and thrive for a week of camping in a very harsh and inhospitable climate. But people come from all over the world to do this, something like 80,000 of them every year. Now, it's not just a chaotic free-for-all. There are actually rules and laws here in Black Rock City, as they call it. And it actually is a city, because with 80,000 people coming up here to camp in the desert for a week, you do need some kind of infrastructure. So about a month before the event, Burning Man crews come up here and grid out the streets, and they put up a trash fence around the perimeter to keep all the litter from blowing out into the open desert. And then once the event officially starts, there's everything from medical facilities to post offices to a DMV, a jail, places to buy ice. There even used to be a place you could buy coffee, but for some reason they canceled that this year. And it's really interesting to watch an entire city of 80,000 people basically spring up out of nowhere in the desert virtually overnight and then disappear again into the dust only a week later. Now that I think about it, it's kind of in the grand tradition of Nevada boom and bust towns. You know, like back in the mining days, Nevada has a lot of mining history, and all those mining boom towns sprung up overnight, and they had hotels and brothels and saloons, and, well, once the gold and silver was gone, so were the people. Anyway, I rode my bike all the way out here to the very edge of the event by the trash fence to find a quiet place to shoot this video, because that's the only way you're allowed to get around at Burning Man. You can't drive regular cars here, they're not allowed. The only way you can get around is by riding a bike or driving an art car. Art cars, or mutant vehicles as they call them, are decorated trucks, vans, golf carts, or even ATVs. As long as it's decorated enough to hide the fact that it's a car, you can drive it up here. You just have to take it over to the DMV, that's the Department of Mutant Vehicles, to get sort of judged first. And if your car passes muster, then you can cruise it around. So that's what people basically do up here all week. They ride around on their bikes or their art cars, looking at art, listening to music, dancing, drinking, and generally just letting their creative freak flags fly. And you really do see some amazing creativity up here. And then, of course, the whole event culminates on Saturday night when they burn the proverbial man. That's right, it's not just called Burning Man for nothing. I guess the quick backstory is there was this guy named Larry Harvey, this artist living in San Francisco back in the 80s. And, well, my understanding is he went through some kind of bad breakup and he wanted to have a sort of cathartic celebration at the end of summer. So he built a little wooden statuette of a man and he brought it down to the beach in San Francisco and lit it on fire with a few close friends. And, well, gosh, they had so much fun that they started doing it every year. And more people started coming until, well, it got so dang big, they had to move the whole party out here to the middle of nowhere desert. And, well, before you know it, 80,000 people started showing up. Huh, that guy just gave me a rubber ducky. Anyway, it's not just some little wooden effigy like the one Larry Harvey built on the beach back in the 1980s. Nowadays, it's a towering wooden structure, probably 100 feet tall, with all kinds of cool art built around the base and an amazing fireworks and pyrotechnics show just before they set it on fire. So anyway, like I said, I've been coming up here since 2009. This is my 12th time, and I was curious to see this year how people were reacting to COVID. Okay, like I said earlier, they canceled this the past 2 years because of concerns related to COVID, and well, this year they did kind of ask that you wear a mask at the gate as you were driving in to have your ticket taken, but the ticket taker wasn't wearing a mask in my case, and then the guy who greeted me and gave me a map and the little event guide wasn't wearing a mask. So, well, gosh, I haven't been wearing a mask all week, and to be honest, I haven't seen anyone else doing so either, aside from dust masks. I mean, we are on a vast dry lake bed, and when it gets windy, these huge dust clouds kick up, and it's this very fine, white, powdery, insidious dust that, well, you can probably hear my voice is a little bit hoarse, and that's because I've been breathing this dust in all week. But aside from dust masks, I haven't seen anybody wearing masks, and it doesn't seem like people have really altered their behavior in any other way for COVID either. I mean, I've seen people sharing food, sharing drinks, and even sharing joints with nary a concern for COVID or monkeypox. It is hotter than blazes out here. I'm shooting this video on the Thursday before they burn the man because I was told this is the last day before temperatures reach 100 degrees. It's supposed to keep getting hotter the rest of the week, so well, I thought I better shoot this while I had the chance, but it's already so hot, it's almost unbearable. So why don't I hop on my bike and ride back and show you my camp, and then I can shoot the rest of this video in the shade. It's not even that much better in the shade, but it helps. Anyway, this is my camp. I'll stand up and give you an overview. Okay, so basically we've got my 4Runner back there, which I towed my vintage travel trailer with, which is covered with a giant piece of what's called aluminate. It's a reflective material that lets the wind pass through it, and then a little shade structure out front so that I have kind of a semi-cool place to sit, because like I said, it's been hot. And I called it Caddy Corner because the name of the camp I'm staying at, you probably can't even tell, but this whole loose collective of trailers and cars and tents it's all my group of friends, mostly from Vegas, and they are known as the Rudest Lounge. How'd you like to get teabagged by that? The name is kind of a joke. It's a long story. I won't go into it here, but because they're called the Rudest Lounge, I thought, okay, well, I'm not really a rude person, but I can be kind of catty, snarky. So I thought I'll just set up my camp right here at the very front, right on the street, so that you can have a nice, shady place to sit down, spill the tea, and make catty comments about the people riding by. Anyway, this is the basic setup I've been bringing to Burning Man for the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 burns at least. And well, I kind of had it down to a science, like I kept all my aluminate and lights and well, you can't even tell, but there's a rug down there covered in dust, all that stuff packed up in bins in my garage. And so when it was time to go to Burning Man, I would just load all my bins and my bikes and my costumes into my vintage travel trailer and then tow it up here with my 4Runner. But because we've had a few years off, well, unfortunately, I kind of got rusty and well, I forgot a few things. And that happened to a lot of people. Many of my campmates are complaining because, oh, I can't believe I forgot to bring this, or oh, I can't believe I forgot to bring that. Matter of fact, there's supposed to be a spinner at the top of that disco ball, that makes it spin around at night with lights up and sparkles all over the place. Well, unfortunately, they forgot the spinner, and I don't even think they hooked up the lights. And I did see a lot of broken down RVs on the road up here coming from Death Valley. I mean, I was smart and I got brand new tires for my trailer just before the trip, and I had my vehicle serviced and maintained, so fortunately I didn't have any problems with my rig. But I did have a pretty big issue with my bicycle. Okay, you know how I was talking about how you have to have a bike to get around up here? Well, I got this Purdy pink beach cruiser, which ironically was not my first choice to bring up here. I have this beater old mountain bike that I paid $35 for back in 2009 at a yard sale in Hendertucky, Nevada. and it is thrashed. The gears are crusted up with that fine white playa dust. The seat can't be raised or lowered. I mean, it's a disaster. But I've been riding it up here every year. 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Plus I rode it all around Vegas, and I never had so much as a flat tire with it. Never once. But this year I thought, well, you know, that mountain bike, you can't raise the seat. It's time to take a nicer bike up here. So I had this beautiful pink beach cruiser that I actually found up here a few years ago. Some rich person just abandoned it on the playa on the last day of Burning Man and took off. So I brought it home and I thought, maybe I ought to take this beautiful pink cruiser instead of my old mountain bike. But you should never deviate from what's tried, tested, and true. And I learned that lesson the hard way because I brought this pretty pink beach cruiser, and guess what happened? The second I got it up here, I was trying to put air in the tires, or I should say a friend of mine was trying to put air in the tires. Not only did the tube explode, the entire tire blew up. It made the loudest noise you've ever heard. It sounded like a nuclear bomb went off. It was this back tire here just completely blew up in my friend Phil's face, which, Phil, if you're watching this video, I'm glad you weren't injured, and thank you for helping me. Now, fortunately, this happened early in the week before my sister had gotten here, so Phil let me use his phone and his Wi-Fi, which there was still Wi-Fi at that time, to call my sister. She brought me a new tire from Reno, and thanks to Phil changing it for me while I was back in business in no time. And as if my bike tire exploding wasn't bad enough, my stove also quit working. Now, I have this adorable 2-burner gas stove here in my adorable vintage travel trailer, but unfortunately this stove hasn't ever worked since I got the trailer. So I brought my little backpacking stove up here to use, but, well, unfortunately there's something wrong with the valve. I think the O-ring is messed up, and, well, it was leaking butane, and it didn't seem safe to use. So not only was I without a bike for a few days, but I was also without a stove until my sister got here, and, well, now I'm sharing her camp stove. Oh, and I guess while I'm in here, I might as well give you a quick tour of my little travel trailer. It's about 16 feet long. It's got a bed on one side, which you can see I have very neatly made up and very cutely decorated with all my little girly throw pillows, and I've got all my flowers hanging on the window to put in my hair, and these are all full of wigs and costumes, and I got all my different sunglasses. Gotta have a headlamp to get around at night. Oh, gotta have a 12-volt fan to sleep with, because like I said, it is hotter than blazes. As a matter of fact, it's as hot as an oven in here right now. I don't have the fan running because, well, I got a big Jackery battery bank that I've been using to power the fan, and my lights in here, and 12-volt refrigerators in my sister's tent, and a bunch of stuff. But, well, the Jackery I'm charging with solar panels. Matter of fact, let's go check on that. Okay, I got my Jackery back around here. Let's see. Well, I'll show you where the panels are. The panels are on the hood of the car. There's my sister's shift pod. She's staying in this fancy silver space pod. I'll give you a quick peek in there. She's not in there. Look how fancy this is. She's got her cool Elvis blankie on her bed. Really beautiful carpet. There's there's our 12-volt fridge that we're sharing. There's a cooler we're sharing. There's her Jackery battery bank. Over here we got a kind of a communal kitchen that we're set up sharing. That's the stove I'm sharing with her. But let me show you my solar power. Up here, there's a lot of guy lines in the way. I got a 200-watt solar panel spread out on my windshield, and then she's got another 200-watt panel on the hood of the car. They're both covered in dust. You have to come out here every morning and clean the dust off. Let's see how much power it's bringing in. Okay, we gotta go back under all these guy lines, up and over and under and all around. Try not to trip or cut my head off. Let's check on the old Jackery and see if I was able to get enough power to run my fan tonight. 34%, pulling in 99 watts, 100 watts. I think we have at least another hour of sunlight, so I'll go ahead and leave that charging for now, and, well, I should be okay to make it through the night. And, as if my tire blowing up and my stove breaking weren't enough, I also completely blew out a pair of shoes. Look at this. They completely disintegrated. And the other one's even worse because it broke into 3 pieces. Now you might be wondering what I was doing that was so intense that it would completely destroy a pair of shoes. Well, it's the same thing that I was doing that made my voice sound so hoarse. I know earlier I attributed it to the fact that I was breathing in a lot of dust, and that is part of it. But mostly it was due to this performance we did the other day. I made vagina coladas with a blender plugged into my electric vagina using nothing but Kegel power, which incidentally is the world's only truly renewable energy resource. Anyway, I had a blender plugged into my electric vagina, and well, we were making drinks and hooting and hollering and bah! And that's how I blew out my shoes and my voice. But believe it or not, the tire, the stove, and the shoes weren't even the biggest disaster of all. The biggest disaster of Burning Man 2022 for me was my slide whistle. Okay, obviously it's a different day from when I started shooting this video. The weather has taken a turn for the worse. First of all, it's really hot. It's been over 100 degrees. Secondly, it got really windy, and because this dry lake bed is so churned up by everybody riding their bikes and driving their art cars on it, all that fine white powdery dust is swirling around in a giant friggin' cloud. I mean, visibility is almost zero. Look at that. You can barely even see those people walking down the street. I can barely even see my neighbor across the street. It is nasty. And the worst thing of all is because it's so dang hot, I can't even go in my trailer to get away from the dust. You know, I don't want to breathe this in. So I did. I tried going in my trailer and hanging out, but it's hot as an oven in there. So I was sitting in here with the door open, and well, unfortunately that was a terrible idea because now the whole dang trailer is full of dust. I mean, you can see here on the door sill. Anyway, that and the porta potties are the unpleasant realities of Burning Man. The stuff they don't show you when you look at all those pretty Instagram photos of those beautiful sparkle goddesses standing in their platform boots in front of art pieces. A lot of it is like this too. These are the times that try men's souls. Anyway, where I left off when I started shooting this video the other day when it was sunny and beautiful and my makeup was perfect and I was out there by the trash fence having a fine time. I was telling you how my busted bike tire, my broken camp stove, none of those were the biggest personal calamity for me at Burning Man 2022. My biggest calamity, until the weather took a turn for the worse, was the fact that I couldn't find my slide whistle. Okay, you know those slide whistles that clowns play in the circus? Well, I have one of those, and I couldn't find it anywhere when I was packing at home to come up here. And you might think, well, what's the big deal? What do you need a slide whistle for at Burning Man? Well, like I've mentioned, touched on in this video, it's kind of a trying year for a lot of people, and I've had my share of personal challenges this year. And I just thought having that slide whistle would be just the thing to keep me cheered up, because it's impossible to not be in a good mood when you hear that. You know, it just like makes you laugh instantly, it makes you smile instantly. I really needed my slide whistle, but I turned the whole friggin' house inside out and upside down looking for it, and I couldn't find it. But it gave me an idea. So like I also mentioned earlier in this video, there is a mail service up here, there's post offices. So you can send out a postcard and they stamp it Black Rock City, and, you know, send one to my mom. You know, it's kind of neat to get a postcard from Burning Man. Well, people can also send you mail here. And so in the past, somebody sent me a package once, I think a couple times, and it was really neat to get a package delivered. There was like this guy dressed like a mailman who comes to your camp and brings you your mail. So I put up a thing on Facebook as I was on my way up here saying, help, I lost my slide whistle. If anyone could be so kind as to mail me a slide whistle at Burning Man, I'd be much obliged. And wouldn't you know it, I didn't just get one slide whistle, I actually got an entire collection of slide whistles, train whistles, random whistles, party poppers, a harmonica, a bunch of kazoos, this weird Japanese thing that I haven't figured out yet. It's a friggin' slide whistle bonanza. See what I mean? It's impossible not to smile or laugh when you hear this. Or I don't know, at least it's impossible for me not to smile and laugh. Look at this one. Or how about this one? All of this was delivered to me by the fine people of the Black Rock City Post Office. The mailman actually came by my camp earlier today. Well, he came by yesterday. Actually, he came by yesterday and delivered 14 slide whistles. And then he came back today and delivered another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've got more slide whistles than I'll ever know what to do with, but it's been great. When he came by yesterday, I go, oh my gosh, 14 slide whistles, that's enough for everyone in my camp to have one. So I passed them out to everybody, and we all played them at the same time, which was amazing. And now I got a whole fresh shipment in, so guess what? I'll be able to share the magic of the slide whistle with a bunch more people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You know what? I know there was some discussion in the comments as to how many slide whistles I would actually get up here. And it's hard to give an exact number because, well, some of them are slide whistles, some of them are train whistles, some of them are kazoos, some of them are party poppers. If I'm only strictly counting slide whistles, I think the answer is somewhere around 30. And that's freaking amazing. I can't thank everybody enough who took the time. I mean, I got packages that they didn't just have slide whistles. I got granola bars, I got baby wipes. Check out these baby wipes I got. Somebody sent me a pack of baby wipes, which you do need up here because you want to stay clean. Safe for electric vaginas. I thought that was pretty funny. And then I got a really cool shirt. I got some party beads. I just a bunch of random stuff. Very thoughtful little packages. A lot of the stuff came from Amazon. Believe it or not, Amazon actually does ship stuff up here. So many of these packages came from Amazon, and so there was no return address. So I have to wait till I get home to thank those people because I can use a little gift receipt QR code, scan it, and say thank you. Everybody else, though, who sent me something from their home, I'm sending thank you postcards to. I filled out a bunch of postcards. I was about to ride over to the post office and drop them in the mail up here. So if you sent me a package and your home address was included with it, look out in the mail. You'll be getting a thank you postcard with a Black Rock City cancellation stamp on it in the next week or two. Ugh, I was gonna go outside, but it's so nasty. I guess I am gonna stay in my trailer. I mean, even though it is 157 degrees in here and a complete mess, it's better than sitting out there in that. I'm gonna leave the door open though, because golly, I gotta try and breathe somehow. Anyway, I don't want to go on and on forever about this, but I just thought it was really cool and very generous of everybody to send me stuff. And the mailman up here actually thought it was funny. Now I was kind of worried, like, oh, is he gonna think pardon my language, is he gonna think I'm a douchebag for getting mail sent to me at Burning Man? No, he had a great sense of humor about it. He thought it was funny. This is the mailman. What's your name?
Ender.
Ender brought me this giant bag full of mail. Yeah, I just opened it all up, but golly, I haven't even had a chance to count all the slide whistles and the train whistles and the kazoos. Is that the most mail you've ever delivered to a single person? Ah!
What? You are ranking. You're ranking.
Is that the most slide whistles?
Absolutely the most slide whistles I've ever seen in my whole career.
Hey! Anyway, the irony in all of this is, and I saved the best for last, after I put my post on Facebook saying, I forgot my slide whistle, please send slide whistles. Well, guess what? I found my slide whistle. It was in my shoe bag all along. I had a big bag with all my crazy boots in it, and well, slide whistle was in there all along. I feel like that's sort of a metaphor in a way, like, well, it's kind of like in those movies, those cheesy movies where they go, the real treasure was the friends we made along the way, or, the real treasure was in your heart all along. Well, I guess in my case, my slide whistle was in my heart all along. Or at least in my shoe bag. Anyway, I guess I'm just gonna keep lurking here in my trailer in hopes that the weather clears. Because if this wind and dust doesn't let up, they won't even burn the man tonight. And I'm not sure what that means. I might end up having to stay here an extra week, waiting for the weather to clear. And I'm not sure I can handle that. I need some practice with this train whistle. until the weather cleared up enough and they burned the man, and it was the big party that it always is. And my friends and I played our slide whistles all night long, and we had a wonderful time. But at the end of it all, well, I found myself asking myself what I ask myself every year. Is that all there is to Burning Man? All things considered, it was a pretty good year. As far as I know, there weren't any major COVID or monkeypox outbreaks, although someone I know did get COVID on the playa, and, well, my sister wasn't feeling too good when she left, so, well, fingers crossed. But I didn't get COVID. I haven't gotten monkeypox so far. I only heard about one person dying, which normally at least a few people die up here because, well, they basically let you do whatever you want. I think it was somebody riding their bike on one of these, there's all these like skate park camps with jumps and ramps, and, well, from what I heard, I think it was a woman, and she fell and landed badly, and, well, unfortunately she passed away, and that's the only death I've heard of so far. I also heard of a birth. Somebody actually gave birth out here this year, I think for the first time ever. Apparently she was like 2 months premature, so she was like 7 months pregnant out here at Burning Man. Sadly, she went into premature labor. I guess she went to the porta potty and her water broke. Fortunately, she didn't give birth in the porta potty. She was able to get back to her camp, and the medics came and they helped her give birth in her camp. And I think the baby's birth certificate says Black Rock City on it. So there was at least one death and there was at least one birth. But now here it is, Monday evening, and, well, just about everybody is packing up and leaving if they haven't already left yet. I like to wait until Tuesday to leave because, gosh, everybody's leaving right now. I just listened to the Burning Man radio station on my little transistor radio, and they said the wait time to get out right now is 7 hours. I'm not waiting in line for 7 hours in my car, dusty and hot and filthy like I am. No, sir, I'm going to wait till the morning. Hopefully the line will be shorter then. And it is kind of sad watching the sun go down behind the mountains one final time on the playa this year. And it's kind of sad to hear the beep, beep, beep of all the construction equipment, dismantling all the artwork, people hauling their trailers out, everyone kind of winding down from another outrageous bacchanal. So this is kind of bittersweet for me. I mean, on the one hand, I'm filthy and hot, and I can't wait to get out of here and take a shower. But on the other hand, sadly, this is one of the highlights of my year. Or at least it was the highlight of my year every year until 2020 when it was canceled for the first time. And I was actually thinking about this while I watched the temple burn last night. In addition to burning the man, well, they also burned this big, beautiful wooden temple that a different architect designs and builds every year. And all through the week, people go out to that temple and they write messages to people they've lost, pets they've lost. You know, they just write little affirmations for themselves. I even went to the temple myself and put something in there because, well, I'm still going through some emotional baggage, I guess. I don't know. I put a little thing in there that when I watched the temple go up in flames last night, well, I tried to make it a cathartic experience. But actually, what occurred to me as I was watching the temple go up last night is 2019, the last year I came to Burning Man, and the last year I stood in front of that temple and watched it burn. Golly, I had no idea that my life was going to change so much. I mean, I'm not the only one. This was 2019. Well, we all know what happened in 2020. And I had a really particularly weird, rough 2020 and 2021. So as I was watching the temple burn last night, I kind of thought, what if I could make this a time machine? And I could go back in time and pretend like, or somehow make it be 2019 again. Only this time I would do a lot of things differently. I mean, COVID is going to be COVID, whatever. But in my personal life, I would have made some different decisions. And, well, I guess I'm kind of looking at this as a sort of rebirth opportunity. I'm looking at this as a do-over. When that temple burned down last night, it burned down the past 2 years. And now, I and all of you have the opportunity to do things the right way. Let's all pretend that the last 2 years never happened. And let's all go out there and do it over and do it right this time. At least That's what I'm gonna try and do. And at least now, I have plenty of slide whistles to keep me smiling.